How come the villains are always so high above us?
Just remember, the higher they rise, the harder they'll fall.
Could you hold it down? People are trying to sleep in here.
This wasn't just campy tights and graphics, it was TV anarchy dressed as a blockbuster demo reel. In 1966, Batman turned a concept car into a flamethrower, a boat into a billboard, and chaos into comedy gold. We're diving into 20 weird facts: shark repellents, mustache makeup, last-minute Catwoman, improv bomb runs, and the secret marketing machine that sold America on capes. Bright colors hid real bruises, melted paint, and genius on a deadline. Ready to unmask the mayhem tonight. Fact 1. Austin's surprise world premiere. A world premiere in New York or Hollywood? Not this time. Batman, 1966, unspooled in Austin, Texas, because a boat builder wanted the spotlight. Glastron, the local company that customized the Batboat's fins and flashy jet housing, negotiated a quid pro quo. Give us the premiere, we'll give you a Batboat that sells the movie on site. The city folded Batman into Aquafest, turned the shoreline into a floating ad, and staged interviews with Adam West, Burt, Cesar Romero, and Lee Merriweather. For Fox, it was genius. Regional hype, headlines, and a partner paying part of the promo bill. For fans, it felt like Gotham invaded the lake. The film wasn't just marketed, it was moored. One premiere, one placement masterclass, and the template for superhero rollouts to come. Next up, the boat itself. Fragile, almost sunk before cameras rolled. Fact 2. The Batboat, promo dream, production nightmare. Built by Glastron to double as rolling billboard, the Batboat looked untouchable until water touched it. The custom fins, chrome rails, and fake jet housing added weight and weird stress points. During early tests off Santa Barbara, the fiberglass began to spider crack and the hull took on water. Crews scrambled with resin, matting, and overnight heat lamps to keep the promo star afloat. On camera days, operators limited speed and kept Adam West still to avoid flex that might open seams. The rocket was propane plumbed and temperamental. Salt spray fouled fittings, so effects were dialed back between takes. On screen, hero shots skimming water. Off-screen, towels, pumps, patch kits, and whispered prayers. The irony sings. Marketing made the boat famous. Physics tried to retire it. Next up, the Joker's mustache. You were never supposed to notice, and now you won't unsee. Fact 3. The Joker's mustache. You can't unsee. Look at that grin again. See the gray shadow ghosting Cesar Romero's upper lip. That's not a lighting quirk. It's stubborn style. Romero flatly refused to shave his trademark mustache, so the makeup crew slathered clown white right over it, layer after layer. Under hot lamps, grease paint thinned, bristles peaked, and the texture shifted from shot to shot. Continuity chased it, camp embraced it. The effect accidentally fit the movie's pop art anarchy, a Joker whose face never sits still. Promo stills quietly retouched the shadow, but HD transfers made the whiskers infamous. Once spotted, forever spotted. Fans now treat it like an Easter egg. Historians call it a perfect mismatch of vanity and vibe. Either way, it's the rare makeup mistake that became character. Next, another last-second pivot that actually worked. Catwoman's on-screen pounce came from a replacement chosen days before cameras rolled. Fact 4. Catwoman, recast at the 11th hour. Julie Newmar owned the claws on TV. The movie had days to replace her. A back injury and scheduling snags benched her, so producers rang up former Miss America Lee Merriweather and rushed fittings, lenses, and a crash course in purr speech. The cowl's eyepieces fogged under lamps. She hit marks by taped arrows and sound cues, not sight. The stitched suit pinched, the heels slipped, and yet the performance slinks. Cool, witty, and just dangerous enough to tilt Bruce Wayne off balance. Off camera, she felt the heat of stepping into a fan favorite's shadow. On camera, she flips it into leverage, playing kittenish bait and chess player. Years later, even Newmar praised the take. One scramble, one star turn. Zero apologies. The movie didn't break without Newmar. It discovered another Catwoman. Next, the bomb run that wasn't written, and the line everyone quotes. Fact 5. Some days, the bomb run that wasn't on the page. That delirious pier sequence wasn't carefully storyboarded. It was a dare to be funny on the fly. The script's beat was bare. Batman disposes of bomb, so Adam West started started running, and the crew kept feeding him obstacles. Lovers on a bench, marching band, nuns, a flock of birds, a boat that won't shove off. The bomb prop was sand-weighted, so every reset burned energy and time. West's mounting exasperation didn't need acting. It needed oxygen. The now immortal Kappa, some days you just can't get rid of a bomb, landed like a pressure valve, and everyone knew they had the scene. Its peak, 66 logic, impossibility, played straight until it becomes poetry. No speech, no sermon. Just a hero trying not to blow up the world. Next, Wheels of Legend, the Batmobile born from a 1955 concept car and a very real flamethrower. Fact 6, the concept car that became the Batmobile. Before it was Gotham's hottest ride, it was Detroit futurism. The 1955 Lincoln Futura, hand-built by Gia, retired from auto show duty and bought by customizer George Barris. On a brutal deadline, Barris's shop carved fins, scalloped the nose, kept the twin canopies, sprayed deep black with red pinstriping, and wired a trunk full of bat gadgets. The afterburner wasn't a light, it was propane, throwing real flame. Crews kept extinguishers nearby and dialed the blast down between takes. Bubble canopies fogged, the cowl trapped heat, and piloting a long, low concept through TV corners demanded more prayer than power steering. On camera, it looked invincible. Off camera, it was equal parts showpiece and handful. The silhouettes sold posters, toys, and tickets on site. And because one hero needs backups, more Batmobiles followed, setting up a sleeper fan favorite, the quick, rough, and ready N4 chassis. Fact 7. The Batcopter's wings weren't just for show. Those bat wings looked cool. They also messed with physics. The production rented a Bell 47 and bolted on fiberglass fins to make the Batcopter silhouette. Extra surface area meant more drag and nasty crosswind sensitivity, so pilots tightened the envelope. Lighter fuel loads, gentler banks, slower passes, constant pre-flight checks on every bracket. Salt spray and coastal gusts didn't help. Mounts loosened, rivets creaked, and crews kept wrenches handy between takes. One test day, a stiff onshore wind flexed a panel enough to force a hard, careful landing and a round of overnight reinforcement. On camera, it's effortless blue sky swagger. Off camera, it's math, maintenance, and a pilot treating style like cargo. The lesson, pop art shapes complicate real air. Still, the Batcopter delivered the icon shots the poster needed. Next, 4 wheels, real flame. Why multiple Batmobiles existed and which one was the secret speed freak. Fact 8. The shark attack that bit back. That rubber shark wasn't harmless. It was heavy, clumsy, and fitted with a clamp that dug into Adam West's thigh while he hung from a helicopter rig. To make the bite read on camera, crew tugged the prop with fishing lines from off-frame, but saltwater chewed the mechanism and turned each reset into a gamble. The solution for the finale was wilder. Coat the shark in fire-retardant foam and ignite it so the repellent looked explosive. The smell was brutal, the fumes real, and West's cape flirted with singe marks more than once. Between takes, they iced the bruises, wiped soot off the cowl, and tried again, because the gag needed to land funny, not fragile. On screen, slapstick. Off screen, burns wrist, bruised legs, and a lot of nervous glances. Next, a simple buoy pop that blew up into saltwater, chaos, and ruined cameras. Fact 9. The sleeper Batmobile that was actually fast. You know the hero car, the original Lincoln Futura, customized by George Barris. Gorgeous, iconic, and not exactly built for speed under TV lights. As the craze exploded, more Batmobiles appeared. Stunt and tour cars molded in fiberglass with beefier, easier-to-fix drivetrains. Among fans and restorers, one keeps getting whispered about as the quick one. And 4. Lighter body, hot rod guts, fewer fragile showpieces. It could launch harder and handle parades without overheating. On screen, you mostly see the hero car. Off screen, number 4 did the grunty work. Mall tours, charity laps, smoky demos that made kids swear they saw real afterburn. The irony, the Batmobile that lived in posters wasn't the one you'd bet in a stoplight sprint. That honor goes to the practical clone tuned to hustle. Next, the look of the whole movie. Dutch angles, comic bursts, and colors loud enough to punch the frame. Fact 10. Comic book cinematography. Dutch angles and pop color. Batman, 1966, wasn't shot to imitate reality. It was framed to read like a living comic. Production leaned into bold primaries, fire engine reds, acid yellows, electric blues, so gadgets and costumes hit the retina first. Villain scenes tilt off-axis with Dutch angles, signaling trouble before before a line is spoken, while hero shots snap back to level like moral plumb lines. Sets were painted in flat tones and rim-lit to carve silhouettes, then sliced with hard shadows that echo inked outlines. Transitions mimic panel jumps, hard cuts, quick zooms, and rhythmic stings that feel like page turns. Even the sound design winks at pop art. The thwacks and horn stabs cue laughs without slowing the pace. It's a style Bible disguised as slapstick. Clarity, color, and composition doing the storytelling. Next, the infamous shark repellent bit. Less accident, more deliberate parody. Fact 11, shark repellent was a punchline with a purpose. The spray isn't a random gag, it's the film's mission statement in a can. Batman doesn't just pull out shark repellent, the label shares shelf space with manta ray, barracuda, and whale, telegraphing the joke before the cap pops. Lorenzo Semple Jr.'s script leans into pop absurdism. Treat every impossibility with absolute sincerity until it becomes hilarious. It also winks at 60s gadget worship, space race optimism turned into belt-buckle convenience. The deadpan delivery sells it, no smirk, no comment, just utility. That earnest tone is why the scene aged into a meme. It's not mocking Batman, it's celebrating the seriously silly. The bit also proved gold for promo stills and toy ideas. One prop, endless punchlines. What looks like throwaway fluff is actually the film's thesis. Logic bows to vibe. Next, 4 villains, 1 United Underworld, and the scheduling chaos it took to pull off. Fact 12, 4 villains, 1 United Underworld. Posters promised mayhem and delivered it. Joker, Penguin, Riddler, and Catwoman joining forces as the United Underworld. On screen, it plays like precision chaos. Gadgets, riddles, umbrellas, and claws moving in lockstep. Off-screen, it was a scheduling puzzle from DMN. Each star had TV or stage commitments, so the crew shot around absences with stand-ins, over-the-shoulder angles, and inserts captured weeks apart. Watch closely, and you'll spot lighting shifts and jumpy geography in some group moments. That seamless villain chemistry is actually editorial Tetris. Lee Merriweather also juggles duality, purring villainous and Miss Kitka spy persona, so Bruce Wayne gets lured while Batman gets worked. The four-way alliance wasn't just fan service, it was a marketing magnet that made one movie feel like an event. The miracle is how breezy it looks, given the calendar war behind it. Next, the TV-to-film flip that changed when and why this movie got made. Fact 13. The TV-to-film flip that supercharged Batmania. The plan was simple. Make a feature first, use it to launch the TV show, amortize the big toys, then ratings, lightning struck. ABC rushed the series to air in January 1966, and the movie got bumped to summer. Shot fast between season 1 and 2 to ride the craze. That flip changed everything. With TV already a smash, the film could go bigger. 4 villains at once, ocean chases, a Batcopter, a Batboat, a souped-up Batmobile. Set pieces too pricey for weekly schedules. It also let the studio market globally. A clean, theatrical package that sold the vibe overseas, while the show kept feeding headlines at home. The result feels like a victory lap disguised as an origin. TV energy, cinema scale, same pop grin. The order didn't break the formula, it amplified it. Next, how that momentum detonated into lunchboxes, costumes, and a full-blown merch quake. Fact 14. Merch quake when Batmania took over stores. Stores didn't just stock Batman, they surrendered to him. By summer 1966, licensees flooded shelves. Die-cast Batmobiles, snap-together kits, utility belts, water pistols, lunchboxes, pajamas, even serial tie-ins. The movie supercharged it. Every vehicle on screen became a toy blueprint. Every villain face sold a mask. Kids could reenact entire set pieces in the living room. Parents met the show nightly, then the checkout aisle daily. Studios learned a blunt truth. Merchandise can out-earn tickets. The feedback loop was perfect. TV fed buzz, the film delivered scale, and retail kept the frenzy visible long after the credits. Even today, the 66 silhouette moves product on site. This wasn't just fandom, it was an economy with a cape. The downside of all that money? An early tangle of rights and royalties that later strangled home video plans, and that mess lingered for decades. Fact 15. The rights maze that stalled home video for decades. Fans could quote every PRW, but couldn't buy the era that birthed it. For years, Batman 66 sat in a rights gridlock. Fox produced the TV show. DC Warner owned the characters. Greenway Dozier held pieces of the production, and music plus talent likeness clearances knotted everything tighter. The theatrical feature cycled through VHS and DVD with relative relative ease, but the crown jewel, the TV series, stayed locked until 2014, when a rare, all-sides deal finally landed. Out came a remastered rollout, new docs, and coordinated merch that reframed the whole phenomenon in HD pop color. The movie rode that wave with fresh transfers and packaging, letting a new generation see the palette the way it was meant to glow. Scarcity bred myth, the release minted money. Wild irony, a show that looks effortless took decades of paperwork to free. Next, effort you can feel. Why Robin's costume hurt as much as the stunts. Fact 16. Robin's costume hurt more than the stunts. Burt Ward's Boy Wonder look pops on posters. Green shorts, bright cape, snug tunic, but the fit was punishment. The trunks rode high and tight enough to leave welts after kicks and slides. Collar hooks on the cape dug into his neck whenever he snapped his head, and the thin tunic trapped heat under the lamps. The utility belt clasp loved to spring open mid-fight, flinging gadgets across the floor and forcing retakes. Bike and sidecar bits were worse. The quick release on Robin's pod jammed, so Ward braced hard corners with his hip and came away bruised. He joked later about circulation and modesty, but the truth is simpler. Camp looks clean because someone toughed it out. Watch the grin, you'll miss the wince. The costume sold youth and speed. The actor sold endurance. Next, when a safe buoy gag exploded into saltwater shrapnel and dead cameras. Fact 17. The exploding buoy that nuked the gear. It looked like a simple gag. Batman and Robin pop a buoy, reveal a trap, cue a splash. The effects team packed a small pyrotechnic charge inside the float, then packed a bit more. When it went off, the blast punched a wall of salt water straight over the crew. One rented camera took a briny bath and died on the spot. Another toppled off its tripod into the surf. Lenses fogged with salt, magazines jammed, and the insurance rep reportedly called it negligence, not activation. Adam West climbed out drenched and furious, but pushed to keep rolling because the light was good and the schedule unforgiving. What made the final cut is real chaos, ripples, spray, and a cast that just keeps moving. Campy on screen, costly off it. Next, those comic BAM fights that actually left bruises, split knuckles, and a near choke by cape. Fact 18. Pop art punches, real bruises. Those comic thwacks look weightless, but the pain landed. Adam West and Burt Ward did a lot of their own scuffles on TV timing. Fast setups, minimal rehearsal, hit the mark and move. Cues slipped, distances closed, and pulled hits sometimes didn't pull. Ward split knuckles on a metal prop and kept going. West's cape snagged during a spin and yanked tight around his neck before crew freed it. Floors painted glossy for that graphic book sheen turned slick with sweat, so leaps and slides meant bruised hips and battered ribs. The choreography wasn't sloppy. It was sprint filmmaking. Safe enough to try, risky enough to sting. Watch the wide shots. Speed, then a breath, then another flurry, because the actors were actually catching air between takes. Pop art on screen. Ice packs off it. Next, the Batcave. Huge on camera, rickety, and fume-heavy when you stepped inside. Fact 19. The Batcave looks solid, wobbled like cardboard. On screen, it's a cathedral of justice. Up close, it was foam rock glued to skinny wooden frames. Walk too hard, and the cliffs shivered. During a Batmobile exit, a wall section slipped and crashed inches from a crew member. Sparks popped from a lighting rig, and smoke curled along the ceiling. Production halted briefly. Then came the fix, extra braces, sandbags, and gaffer tape. Lots of it. Heat from the lamps baked fresh paint and contact cement, so the cave smelled like solvents and stage dust. To sell depth, they rimlit edges, stacked foreground gadgets, and let hard shadows do the heavy lifting. Operators also timed moves to avoid floor shake. Watch carefully, and you can catch a ripple here and there. The miracle isn't the set, it's the lighting and nerve that made it majestic. Next, the ocean brawl, filmed in a chlorinated backyard. Fact 20. The ocean, fight shot in a chlorinated backyard. That wild undersea brawl wasn't filmed anywhere near the coast. Production staged it in a small Los Angeles swimming pool tinted with green dye to fake seawater. Stunt performers wore weighted boots so they wouldn't bob to the surface. Camera operators crouched in watertight boxes that fogged between takes. The dye looked great to the lens and terrible to the lungs. Visibility dropped to a few feet, so crew used underwater flashlights as out-of-air signals. One stuntman gulped the dyed water and was treated for throat irritation that bordered on chemical burns. Safety divers hovered just off frame, ready to shove performers toward ladders the second a cue flashed. clashed. In post, color timing punched the greens and hid the backyard scale, turning a murky scramble into a crisp ocean melee. On screen, comic book epic. Off-screen, a chlorinated magic trick held together by grit. Batman 1966 looks innocent, but beneath the pop colors lived quick fixes, bruises, improvisation, and marketing hustle. Every gag rode deadlines, risky rigs, and performers who refused to blink. It wasn't just a movie. It became a blueprint for franchise culture and meme-ready storytelling. Now that you've seen the stranger corners, ask yourself, was the mayhem accidental or the secret sauce? Rewatch it with fresh eyes. The paint still pops. The edges still cut. The myth still hums louder than ever.